What's the connection between an antique chalice, a Unitarian Universalist church, and a draft card? Find out when we rewind to 1967 in this week's The Rewind, where we explore the public media archives where our history is preserved, online and in the vault. So this month is the anniversary of Woodstock, which made national headlines. But what about local counterculture in the 1960s? This week, we're looking at a 16mm film from the 60s locally in Boston showing protests from the time. So this week, we want to hear from you around any of your footage from the time. Let us know in the comments below or with hashtag WGBHRewind. The Arlington Street Church is home to an interesting relic, an antique chalice donated by William Ellery Channing, one of the prominent leaders of the Unitarian Church in the 19th century. And in 1967, that chalice played a central role in anti-draft protests as it was used to collect draft cards. 216 were turned in and 67 were burned in violation of the law. I'm here again today with Peter Higgins, Archives Manager. Thanks for joining us. So what are we sitting at here?
This is a Steenbeck film editing desk, and this is how you would combine different picture and sound elements to create a finished edited film. We're going to take a look at the 16mm film that we know as Turn In, Burn In.
The scene is the Boston Common. The date is October 16th, 1967. The occasion is a rally to mobilize American youth to resist the draft. The Boston rally is part of a nationwide campaign launched on October 16th to encourage draft-age men to turn in their draft cards.
And they are not allowing us our freedom of speech when they allow interference with our freedom of speech.
The speaker who is attempting to make himself heard is Professor Howard Zinn of Boston University's Department of Government.
The basic principle of American democracy, although it's easy to forget, that the government is not to be worshipped or obeyed without question. That's not a democracy, that's a totalitarian state. Hey!
I am not afraid of jail. I am afraid of killing people and being killed. And I am afraid that this whole planet is going up in smoke if we don't do something about it immediately. Jail is not to be feared. Jail is an honorable alternative to this war in Vietnam.
This is the march to the Arlington Street Church. You can see people look super cool on this.
So I'm noticing this is an almost all male crowd.
Well, these were all people that were subject to the draft.
Right.
You know, they were all registered with Selective Service, and you know, it was their numbers that would come up.
So you feel sorry for these people?
Well, I feel sorry in a way that I wasn't born out. I was born with a sense of patriotism, sort of. I'll defend my country. These people here, they haven't, this sense isn't instilled in them. So what can you do?
This meeting at Boston's Arlington Street Church is an event of importance in the prosecution of the so-called Boston Five: Reverend Coffin, Michael Ferber, Dr. Benjamin Spock, Mitchell Goodman, and Marcus Raskin. The United States government has indicted these 5 men for conspiracy to commit offenses in violation of the Universal Military Training and Service Act. They are charged with conspiring to counsel young men to refuse to serve in the armed forces, to surrender their draft cards, and to interfere with the draft in other ways.
So the footage we just saw today was used in the 1968 WGBH program Draft Resistance Viewing. And while we're grateful to have this machine to help us see this footage, you may not have one at home, but you can head to openvault.wgbh.org to see a whole lot of Vietnam-related material. So let us know what you find in the archives with hashtag WGBHRewind or in the comments below. And thanks so much for joining us this week on The Rewind. We'll see you next time in the archives.